Peace and blessings, everyone. I want to come on here and talk about Mars and Leo. Okay, so those who have Mars and Leo, I will say this: they can be pretty, like okay, like they could be the type that like to get, they can get wild in bed, like they can get down and dirty. They're also good with channeling their sexual energy, and create different creative ways. They'll also be good with creative arts. Actually, these like what they consider quote unquote the alpha male and the females of the zodiac, that Mars Leo, like versus the sign of Leo, it's pretty much like they're flamboyant, like they have like a flamboyancy to them. But when you look at Mars Leo, that's like the alpha males of the zodiac, alpha males and alpha men and women of the zodiac, alpha males and females of the zodiac. But they can have a tendency to project through children. Like in other words, sometimes you may find some of them they'll stay at arguments or fights with children. Hell, there may be a couple and they may be into arguments. They may stay into arguments because they can be Mars and Leos can have a tendency to be abusive as well. Or if not, they'll tend to go through physical. They might not be as abusive, but they'll tend to go through physical abuse a lot, or encounter situations where they're going through some type of physical abuse, where somebody may put their hands on them, or they may put their hands on one. But the thing is, I will tell you this: never, ever, 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 ever play with the Mars and Leo person's heart. Never play with their heart. Never play with their emotions, man. Never play with them. Never. That's one of the worst things you could ever do to them. Never, because once you're on the bad side, and then and when they get mad, it's something else when they get mad. When they get upset, especially when you play with their heart or you play with their emotions. Um, Another thing I want to say as well when it come down to Mars and Leo is, cause Mars and Leo, they do just like with Moon and Leo. Mars and Leo, they don't like to be told what to do. That's why they're not better off. They're really not better off career wise working up under other people. They're pretty much more so better off. They're pretty much more so better off working for themselves, or being like in an executive or authoritative position, like in some type of position of power, or being their own boss of some sort, because they're not good at working up on other people, because they don't like being told what to do, because they're not a completely submissive type. They may compromise, but they're not a completely submissive type. You know, they don't like anyone else feeling like that they're above them, or someone else, or they don't like leaning off of other people's personal power. If you get what I'm saying in that sense, they can be child. They can have a child like. They can be a child at heart. Mars and Leo people. They can be a child at heart. I will tell you this: Leo does represent the sign of protection and being protected. But so when you think about it, either they can protect themselves, or they can have a tendency to protect themselves, or they can have people to protect them. Especially, they even be good with, to be honest, they'll be good like with gangs, like gangs and gang members, and things of that nature. Being part of organizations, it's like they can send somebody, or they can send a group of people after a person that they're wanting to seek revenge on, or they wanting to get because of something, or want to go after because of something, and those people will do it. They can even manipulate and make something up, or they can manipulate, especially to their own personal advantage, and this thing, they can do it. Like, let me give an example. Like this Mars, and like let's say you have a Mars Leo person, they can tend to set up there, and this person may not be feeding into their manipulation, their deception, right? I'm just saying, let me use it. Let's say on the job, Mars Leo, supervisor or manager. So what they'll do is that they will set up here just like a Leo person would. They'll set up here and they'll probably try to wield power because the fixed signs itself, Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio, they're willful signs. They're fixed signs. The fixed signs are willful. So they can tend to wield power by, okay, so let's say this Leo person can tend to wield power by going to this person that they're connected to. This person may be in a higher position of power than them. Next thing you know, they call this person in, all because this person, didn't feed into their manipulation. And then next thing you know, they'll try to make something up or try to sway that person, to send that person home. Next thing you know, that person get called to the office. And next thing you know, they'll tell that person that weren't feeding into their manipulation. They'll tell the other person that they could take the day off, and things of that nature. That meaning that they can have that person, that higher power protecting them, when it comes down to their manipulation. That's what a Mars and Leo does. Mars and Leo, they can tend to create with that Leo energy. They good when it come down to popularity. They could be popular or become popular, or they can create popularity. Um, you may catch them being in the mirror a lot. Some of them, or talk about themselves a lot, of being in the mirror a lot. Um, Another thing when come down with Mars and Leo people is they want to do things whereas they'll receive recognition. Not only they can express their creativity, but they'll receive recognition. If they feel that they're not receiving recognition, guess what? They're not going to be doing that certain particular thing for long. Especially if they're not receiving any type of recognition or no appreciation, because it's just like with Leo or Leo Sun and Leo Moon. They don't like the L Venus and Leo. They don't like to, feel unappreciated. They don't like to feel unappreciated. Um, another thing as well, another thing is what Mars and Leo is that I'm trying to make sure I'm not leaving nothing out here. That's why I'm just sitting up and thinking. I'm trying to make sure I'm not leaving anything out. Because another thing with Mars and Leo is that I know they can have a tendency to attract narcissists. They could definitely have a tendency. They have hypersex drives as well, but they could definitely have a tendency to attract narcissists. They could definitely have a tendency to do that. You may even catch some Mars and Leo people. They may fall in love with things like rock and roll music, cause they like that. They like something that'll bring that. How can I put it? When it come down to music itself, because you may find them being attracted to things when it come down to like bass star inside of music, or like rock music, rock and roll, because something with electronic guitar to it, a bass drum or something, because especially if it sounds pretty good. It's a term I want to come up for, the way how they express is that. But it's the way they express is like they rock pretty hard to it. They rock pretty hard to it. I can think of a term that I want to express for it. Also, another thing is when it comes down to Mars and Leo is they also like some of them. You may catch some of them obsessed with things like when it comes down to like trains and things of that nature, because especially at an early age, trains or planes, because that's a sign kind of like similar like Sagittarius when it comes down to adventure. Also, sometimes they may They may execute their power, but in an extreme way, in a pretty extreme way, especially then in a higher power of authority or something. Um, Another thing with Mars and Leo is because see when they express themselves, they pretty much assertive with it. Let me give an example like Lisa Ray when she said when she was on the Players Club, she was in that dressing room and she was like, "I want everybody to motherfucking dressing room, please." That's Mars and Leo right there all day. That's Mars and Leo right there all day. It's like when they say something, they mean it. Or when they demand something, similar like Aries, when they demand something, they mean it. And if you don't do what they say, they pretty much gonna show you. It's like they're gonna show you the consequence of that. Did I leave anything else out about with Mars and Leo? Oh, they can have a tendency to attract a lot of people. I know Mars and Leo can have a tendency to attract a lot of people who are younger than them, or they can be attracted to people who are younger than them or look younger than them as well. They do have a tendency of that. Um, then it depends on where it's placed at an aspect too. It's another thing I want to say about Mars and Leo. Oh, another thing about Mars and Leo, cause Mars and Leo, cause Leo's about the self. Leo is about the self, and then the opposite sign is Aquarius. Aquarius is about groups and associations. One of the things that they definitely have to learn, they have to learn to definitely be able to, you know, they had to get like they had to put themselves out there. Let's put it like that. They have to put themselves out there is what it is. That's the thing with Mars and Leo. Like they cannot be more so closed off just to themselves. They basically have to be because they can have a tendency of doing that, but they have to put themselves out there. Like they have to be willing to make friends, be willing to compromise. I'm not saying fit in to the point whereas, you lose yourself and they'll lose themselves in it, or whereas they get their power over to others, or whereas it causes them to sell their soul. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they have to compromise in terms of creating and building connections. That's what it is with Leo. That's what it is with Mars and Leo. They have to learn from the opposite side of Aquarius, the opposite side energy, which is Aquarius. That they have to make connections. And Mars and Leo can also have a tendency of they can have a tendency of being some hoes as well. I will say that. They can have but see, it depends on where it's placed at. That's the thing. It depends on where it's placed at. Cause normally, because Mars do good in the sign like Leo and Aries, it do good in those signs. And Sagittarius, you know, it do good in those signs. But I will say this: normally when the Mars and Leo strength is pretty lessened. I mean, no, I mean normally when the Mars strength is lessened, it's like with this in Pisces or was it or Cancer, or let's say if something negatively aspecting it, it may be hard for them to get in touch with that side, whereas their side, whereas they feel very confident, whereas they feel like they're in power, they're in control, is what that is. It depends on something badly, negatively aspecting it. Like if Neptune aspecting it badly, or Saturn, or some sort, or Pluto of some sort. And especially if you have Mars, especially like with some people who have Mars and Pluto, they could definitely be abusive. I say that's one of the red flags, even when it comes down to dating someone, because that I'm just using that aspect as an example because they can represent someone who can have a tendency to be abusive. But I think that's all I want to say about. I think that's all I want to say about with Mars and Leo. I think that's all. If I left anything out later, I will come back at a later date to definitely post it, because like I said, Mars and Leo like recognition. Another thing that they love too, they love to show love or recognition. They love to show affectionate to their partner also, or whoever. Also, they don't like to be left out of things, or they like to show their partner off, or whoever. Also, they don't like to be left out of things either. They don't like to be left. They don't like to be left unrecognized. They don't like to be left out. They don't like to be left out of things. Like they don't like to go unrecognized. Like let's say someone planning a trip, and everybody around them is being invited to go on the trip, but they're not. They don't like to be recognized. I mean, go unrecognized. They don't like to go unrecognized. They like to be recognized. They don't like to go unrecognized, even if they want to participate in or not. But they don't like to be left unrecognized, because if they left unrecognized, you know, or if they go unrecognized, no one is not recognizing them, guess what? They're gonna feel betrayed. And here's the thing with the Mars and Leo, it's similar like Scorpio. Here's the thing. Once you betray them, and once you get on that bad side, there's no coming back from it. There's no coming back from it. And then they have some pretty bad tempers as well. They can have a very hyper sex drive, but they have some pretty bad tempers as well. But as I stated, once you get on their side, once you get on the bad side, there's no coming back from it. And depending on whoever you're dealing with, you may encounter physical abuse like domestic violence. Mars and Leo can deal with that as well. It can deal with like violence, or domestic abuse, or domestic violence. And like I said, sometimes they may even project it through the children. Like in terms of they may get in a fight with the children, or whatever it is, or whatever case is. Or then again, a lot of them tend to be in legal battles in court, especially dealing with the children. They tend to be in legal battle. They may tend to be in legal battles or custody battles a lot. Some of them may find themselves going through that a lot. And also with Mars and Leo people, they like to do things. You may see that they still have a lot of energy. Also, Mars and Leo represents athletes as well, like basketball players, football players. Let me name some. I think Michael Jordan have Mars and Leo. Yeah, like they may be basketball players, or football players. And also a sign similar like Aquarius that'd be good for. That's a place that's similar like Aquarius, depending on what's placed there, that aspect in it, that'd be good for fame and as I stated, with fame and popularity as well. But also with that placement, you have to be careful not to sell your soul. That's the thing you have to say. You have to be careful, because it can even represent selling your soul for fame as well. Because think about what the opposite sign is, Aquarius. Aquarius is fame, is groups, it's entitlement. Just like Capricorn, and similar like Capricorn way, fame, fortune. You know, Aquarius represents entitlement. Some people be selling their soul for becoming for the death, for to have entitlement. So Mars and Leos can be prone to that as well. But as I stated, these are the alpha male and the alpha females of the zodiac. Especially like for example, if they have Mars and Leo and it's aspecting their ascendant, then they don't ascendant, guess what? It's gonna give them more so like a because ascendant represents your appearance and how people perceive you. That's gonna give you like more so like of a masculine disposition or more so of a masculine look, like an alpha male type look, or if it's a female, may get them more so like a pretty masculine or a pretty confident disposition, alpha like disposition, a dominant disposition. Just like with a male, it give him more so like a masculine look. They give him more so like an alpha male type look. Or if it's already in a sign, if it's already in a masculine sign, or if it's in a masculine fire sign, it's going to enhance that. So that's what that is there. um like it will even kind of show like it's stronger testosterone or something. Like it will kind of reinforces that. But that's Mars and Leo. But as I stated, Mars and Leo definitely deals with things like will come down with athletes and athletic. It represents athletes and things of that nature. That's what Mars and Leo deals with. But as I stated, the thing is here the less with Mars and Leo is that they have to do something that way as it will allow them to express their creativity. Not only will allow them to express their creativity, but also they have to make connections by they have to make connections by you know by let's say reaching out to people or compromising is what they have to do. Not compromise to whereas they'll sell not whereas they're selling their soul, but it allows them to be their true authentic self. They're to live in their own autonomy. But they creating these connections. Just like what Aquarius have to learn from Leo, because Aquarius about fitting in. Because see, with this Saturn transit Aquarius going through now, that's what's going on. The second phase of it now is about it's okay to stand out. Because the first phase with their retrograde, what they had to learn was about when they were trying to fit in and identify with something that wasn't in true alignment with them. There wasn't in true alignment with their true authentic self. Now they're no longer they learn not to identify with that wherever that they're no longer identifying with whatever that were in alignment with their true authentic self, and they learn that it's okay to stand out. And by them learning that, they're gonna attract the right people, or they're gonna counsel the right people. So now they already learned the lesson about even people in general learning this or burning this energy about it's okay to stand out, which is Leo energy. That's what Aquarius have to learn from Leo. That's okay to stand out. Meanwhile, Leo learn from Aquarius is that you know you connect with other people and network with other people, but it have to be the people who are in true alignment with you, like who are in alignment with your goals or helping you achieve your goals, whereas you'll benefit from it. And you're building connections and you'll receive recognition. Just like with dating with Mars and Leo. Okay, it's like you setting up in the house, and if you're wanting and you're expecting love to come, you're like, okay, when is love going to come? Well, Because Mars and Leo like to be in the center of attention as well. They like to be the life of the party. But, well, the thing is that you got to go out first. You have to go out and you have to go places. That's how love will be able to find you. Or you'll be able to find love mutually. You have to go out. You have to get out the house more. You're not going to find it just sitting in the house all the time. Or you're not just going to find it just being on dating sites. You have to open yourself up to other ways of dating and finding love, like in terms of speed dating events and traveling, going to clubs and parties and all those things. You have to open yourself up to that. It's not just going to come to you. You have to open yourself up to other avenues. Because online dating is not working for you. Then you have to open up yourself to other avenues of connecting, such as speed, being open-minded, such as speed dating. Leo's the number 5 energy. In astrology, it's the number 5 energy. Which is about adapting. A 5 is about adapting, and expansion is about adapting and changing. So it's like if online dating is not working for you, then you need to explore other avenues of dating, such as speed dating, going out to clubs, going to parties, and things of that nature. Rather than just sitting in the house all the time, being online, just looking at you like, okay, this is not working out for me, and things of that nature. So that's why I want to come on here and talk about, when it come down with Mars and Leo, that I can go on and on. I could definitely go on and on when it come down to Mars and Leo. But this is a video I want to make here about my Mars and Leo. And another thing Mars and Leo people have to be careful about is getting used, because people can tend to use them for fame and popularity, to gain fame and popularity off of them, or try to feed off of their own creativity in terms to gain fame and popularity right along with them. So they definitely have to be careful of that as well. And they have to be careful because they can have people up under their nose who can who could be deceiving them right up under their own nose, just like with Leo sun sign people. And those people can tend to backstab them, those people that's up under their nose, or steal or take from them whatever they created. But, or especially if they're taking a stance against something, they can have somebody who want to try to take them down for taking a stance against it. Like whether if they're paid or whether if they want to take them down themselves, and they working at cross purposes. Because Leo also represents a sign of assassination, especially with Mars and Leo. But this I want to come on here and talk about. Until next time, peace and blessings, everyone.